We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, your day is going well. By the time you hear this, it will be Thursday. We're recording it on Wednesday night. I
Mhm.
have with me Will, very
Hey guys.
appropriate person to have because there's a lot of bullshit going on. And if there's something that Will doesn't like, it's bullshit. So we can share that tone tonight. It's there's a lot of ridiculous shit going on, and as you said, if there weren't people being hurt and killed in the process, this would be an absolute laugh.
Hilarious. I mean, who else gets triggered by a man in a chicken suit
Yeah.
other than Christine Nome trying to look all high and mighty over the city of Portland and the 10 protesters down there and a guy in a chicken suit leaning against the fence and they try to make a big deal at the guy in the chicken suit. Really?
Yeah, it's
And
pretty ridiculous. Well, what's going to happen? Was Christy Nome there today?
I know that was, I think that was yesterday. She was doing her rounds of ice, ice. And she was in Chicago this weekend or a couple of days ago. They wouldn't let her use the bathroom. The police officers basically tell them, "Go fuck yourself. Go use a porta potty." She was so upset. They won't feed ICE agents in Chicago. No, I don't want your fat ass in here with your gear. You're gonna get rid of. Why don't you just clear? You're literally gonna clear out all my patrons. Get the fuck out. Which I have a right to refuse service to anyone, and your fat asses are one of them. They're
Well,
whining
that's
the abuse they're saying that they're getting. That is
well,
what's called the Insurrection Act on.
the ironic thing is that they're complaining about getting pushback from them acting like terrorists in
Yes.
perfectly normal American cities. How dare you react to our egregious behavior? That's basically what they're saying, and they're going to get more and more of this. I mean, the Chicago situation is pretty untenable. Going into apartment buildings, having Black Hawk helicopters. I didn't know fucking ICE had helicopters.
They have access to a lot of military equipment. They are the biggest private army in the world right now and well funded. And that was a joke. I mean, that the only excuse is that there was some the Venezuelan gang. There was no gang there. They just
Yeah,
picked another soft target because I showed up in Latin Kings territory in Chicago the next day
I
and
heard
got
that.
their asses chased out because that's not a soft target. That's a hard target. And they showed up and they tried to be all badass, and they're going, really? Let me show you what that works. They ran for their fucking lives.
You know, you know, you
They're
hear you
weak.
hear you hear a lot about the Crips and the Bloods and all those other gangs, but the Latin Kings have been around a long time. I remember
Mm-hmm.
seeing documentaries 10, 15 years ago about these groups. The Latin Kings, I looked it up, they have anywhere between 40 and 100,000 members. They'd be a formidable force if you want to go fucking tangle with them. And
But
they
they
aren't
don't.
happy about the situation because they're all,
And they
guess what? They're all brown people. Let's try to deport those motherfuckers.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You don't go into. I mean, in LA, they still don't go into hard targets. They tried to do that in Little Haiti in New York, and they got their asses run out. The videos we've seen it.
Yeah.
They are the epitome. There's a video of a guy who honked at a uh, ICE agent, and they stopped his car and started to search him. Why? Because they're just a bunch of pussies. You're weak men playing cosplaying. You think you're badass. You're nothing. You really are nothing.
I'm
Um,
surprised that we haven't got one of them or two of them or three of them shot at this point. I mean, when you're going out dealing and pushing against gang members and stuff, these people are well armed, whether
right.
you think Democrats aren't well armed or not. If you're coming in and taking my kids and hauling them out of the apartment naked and zip tying them, somebody's going to snap and just
Right.
fucking do something.
I mean, they already shot them. They killed one person in Chicago in the suburb, saying he was trying to run him over. Again, showing they were lying. The woman in Chicago proper, they were saying she pulled a gun on him or tried to run him over and she got shot. Body cam showing no, this was just all lies because these people are not trained. I mean, I have seen videos of people confronting ICE and asking them questions, and they're pulling weapons on them. They're not law enforcement. They're not trained. These are all white supremacists, Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, the one percenters. All these motherfuckers are being hired by the federal government now to do this. You could see it. They are not professionals.
Well,
Period.
the
End
problem, the
discussion.
problem, the problem with that is that when you have untrained people, you put them out there and you get thousands of people pushing back on you, they get nervous, they get
Yeah.
scared, and all they know to do is go for the gun and start shooting because they're trying to save their lives, or at least they think they are. So that's why you're going to have problems like Kent State, but on a bigger scale in
Mhm.
these invasions into these cities. It's going to happen eventually. It's got
Right. I
to.
mean, and and again, they're used to being the bully. They're not used to being bullied. And when they see, and you could see it in their eyes, even though they have their face covered, you could see in their eyes when people start to get up on them, they get nervous because they're not used to that. They're used to people turning on them, running away because they're biggest assholes in the room. No, you're not. And I want to also, this is a message to the state of Texas, and I've done videos on this, but I'm going to do this for all of you. Texas used to used to say we are independent. Texas told Mexico to go fuck themselves in the Alamo. They didn't want to join the Union. They were a Republic of Texas on their own. They
Mhm.
joined the Confederacy because basically they needed the slave trade. But Texas has always said we do our own thing. So explain to me, Texans, why your governor Greg Abbott is now, and because I can say it here but not anywhere else, why he is now Trump's bitch, doing anything he says, sending your citizens into Portland, into Memphis, into Chicago to attack fellow Americans. Okay. And I did a video and someone brought it up. Well, they said that on a Manus Touch video, and I made a comment about it. And someone wrote, well, no, Texas is not like that. Don't put us all together. We're purple turning blue. You're lying sacks of shit. You had two times to give it to Greg Abbott. You held him close to you and voted for him.
True.
Your state is as red as the blood you're going to spill in the streets of Chicago, Memphis, or Portland. So either this is basically Texas, you're a traitor to the United States. In discussion. Sorry, you're traitors because you're going along with this stupid shit.
Well, I'd
And
like to
those
know what's going to happen. We're in hurricane season, and a hurricane hits Texas, say, for example, and you need National Guard to help with the hurricane and the cleanup and all that sort of stuff. But you've got Texas National Guard in Portland, in Chicago, in Memphis, wherever the hell. Don't you need them there for your own fucking protection? Apparently not.
God, we've been lucky we haven't had another natural disaster. And when that happens, look at the incompetent assholes in charge right now. We're in a government fucking shutdown. If we have a natural disaster, it's over. I mean, you saw what happened to Kerrville, and the government was open. They didn't do a fucking thing in Kerrville. They still haven't done anything there in Texas, which is another reason why Texas, you're spending money there because I'll guarantee you they ain't coming from the federal budget. It's coming from your budget, sending those men out. Trust me, Trump don't pay his bills. And this is the thing. I mean, this all fits into the shutdown, this bullshit that the Republicans have put us in. I mean, you've talked about the shutdown. I've talked about the shutdown. Everyone's talking about it. It's only all the Democrats are asking for is just put the ACA stuff back on at least, so people's already high payments, because they were showing most people's payments for per month are like $500 a month for fucking insurance. Okay, so we don't want it to be $2,000 a month. Just do that. What's their response? They go right to the illegal alien thing. Every fucking video I've made about this, I get the Fox talking point. Democrats won $1.6 trillion for health care for illegals. The talk coming right out of Mike Johnson's ass. Okay, this
Yeah,
is
or
like
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. So I finally said a video. Here's for something completely different. Okay, I think Democrats should say, okay, we'll do a CR to the end of November. We'll do it and watch what happens. That's what
Yeah.
I would say. Watch what happens. Fuck it, because you're going to keep this going on. And it's going to get worse. Well, it's going to be bad for people because it's still going to happen anyway. Still going to happen. So let's just say, okay, we warned you, we tried. Okay, we don't want air traffic control, the air traffic controller problem, and we want to get these people paid because Trump's now either going to fire them, decide he's not going to pay people who are furloughed. Yeah, basically starve people to death, you fucking motherfucker. But the
Well,
point,
here's
and go ahead, I'm sorry.
here's the thing. The shutdown has been an absolute failure for the Republicans. They try to blame the Democrats, and nobody buys it. The polls show that a large percentage, 70, 80% of the people know it's the Republicans, so this isn't playing well for them. Under normal circumstances, they would probably say, okay, we'll back down. The problem is they're waiting for Donald Trump to give them the go ahead, and Donald Trump just does not fucking care what it does to
No,
Congress or what it does to the people. So he's holding strong. He's going to need some serious pressure before he bends on this thing. But I will say this about the Democrats: as much as I've talked shit about the Democrats, in terms of what they're doing with this shutdown, they're doing the exact right thing,
yeah, they're doing the
saying
right thing.
no. They're holding strong, which is
Right.
out of character for them. They usually bend and back down. They've got to stay strong here, not only to protect the ACA, but also to set the right tone going forward with
Right.
the Republicans. We're not fucking backing down anymore. We're coming for your asses.
I mean, they're talking. They ask quite. I mean, Trump has his daily presser in the Oval Office where you have to watch all that gold we spent money on, gaudy bullshit. And someone asked him, the air traffic controllers were having problems. Some airports aren't getting. The people are calling in sick because they got to make a living somewhere. They're furloughed. You know, what is your reaction? He goes, "Oh, you mean that's a Democrat's fault? Democratic shutdown. That's all he is. He is fucking embedded right now." And it isn't
Yeah.
about anything other than I'm going to get them to do what I want. And I'm going to give a fuck if everything falls. There's going to be, God forbid, there's going to be a huge transportation accident. There's something going to be so egregious and huge. And instead of trying to fix it, the first thing out of their mouths was, this would be fine if Democrats had to shut the government down. They won't
Right.
give a fuck about the dead or the damage. That's going to be their first thing out of the mouth. This is all about owning the libtards. This is the most fucking ridiculous thing. They don't govern, they perform. And you saw that with that Pam Bondi Senate hearing. She is not an attorney general. She's fucking a campaign manager for Trump.
No.
She refused to answer any questions. She just kept saying, yeah, you just said, say, hey, Trump. No, you're the attorney general of the United States. Your job is to run the Justice Department for all of America, not Trump. You're not a lackey of the president. You're supposed to be separate. But that ended right then and there. We saw that
Which
yesterday, the other
which
day.
what she did was an absolute insult and an affront to Congress and to every person in this country. She showed that
Mm-hmm.
she isn't doing what she was hired to do, that she's doing the opposite. And as somebody pointed out, she could be qualified as the worst attorney general in history, which is saying a lot because
Yeah,
John Mitchell went to fucking jail with Richard Nixon.
yeah. But at least John Mitchell still looked at, still would do something for the country. Fuck, I said this in a quote. It makes me miss William Barr, for God's sake, because at least William Barr in the end told Trump, no, no, man, I can't do that. That's bad. At least
Yeah,
William Barr, if he was trying to like with the Russian thing, I forgot the name of the lawyer, the special prosecutor. At
Mueller.
least he tried. Yeah, at least he tried to hide it. At least he tried to put it in legal sense. You see what I'm saying? She doesn't give a fuck. She doesn't. She was hot. She was put in that position to defend anything Trump does. They asked her about the legality of the National Guard. She didn't answer the question. She said, "Oh, Oh, why? Because you hate Trump? Doesn't everyone want help to manage their cities from crime? No, you didn't answer the question. It's not legal. What is your legal position? She has no legal position other than whatever Trump says. That's not an attorney general. That's a fucking cultist.
Well, the thing is that what the way she talked and the way she acted would have been exactly the way Donald Trump reacted, like an
Exactly.
insolent
They're
child,
all
like an idiot. So she wasn't thinking for herself there. She was, as they say, performing for an audience of one for Donald Trump. And as much as everybody in this country saw this, Republicans and Democrats alike thought it was embarrassing, that it was stupid, that it was
not
horrible.
Republicans.
Well, I
You
think
heard the
some
Republican
Republicans did.
question. Do you hear the Republican questions? They were ridiculous. It's all they're
Well, no,
so.
yeah, the
Go
the
ahead. I'm
ones in
sorry.
Congress, but I think other Republicans outside of Congress. I mean, all these people are in the same position. They are terrified of Donald Trump, so they will say anything to appease Donald Trump. But the fact of the matter is, I guarantee you, when this was over, no Republican in Congress said, "Hey, good job." Nobody said that. But
Yeah,
I
I know.
guarantee you, Donald Trump did. Donald
Yeah,
Trump did. See, that's the problem with the Republicans in Congress that I find the most frustrating. Some of the things that Donald Trump is doing is so stupid. And I know these people know better. That's what makes it worse. They know it's wrong, but they still go along with it.
yeah. I mean, but then you have people like Mike Johnson, who's just totally into it. Trust me, this guy knows what's going on, but he's down with it. He's totally down with it. Someone did a showed what the ACA effects will be in Louisiana. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, his people in his district will see their rates go up to $2,200 a month for a base policy. A month,
How's he
a
going to get
month,
reelected? How's he going to get reelected? I
because
mean,
he's him, and they don't. Republicans don't. Republican voters are lost because they keep doing it. I don't know. That's a question you can ask. Uh, Historians will pick apart 200 years from now, going, "What
well,
the fuck was wrong with these people?"
the thing with Mike Johnson and apparently a lot of members of Congress, they don't have any trouble with lying because their whole lives have been lies. They spent their life in the closet and then going after people in their own community. I
Right.
think we'll start to see some of that stuff coming out because it's getting so ugly. People are going to drop some fucking bombs that will expose some people to some things, and it will be highly embarrassing, far more embarrassing than what Donald Trump could do. I wanted to go back to one thing real quick, and then we'll get back
Mm-hmm.
into this other stuff. You were talking about the press conference with Carney from Canada. That was embarrassing, and Canada was
Quick
pissed
note
off.
to all my Canadian followers and yours: tell your prime minister not to come to Washington anymore for his sake and your sake.
Yeah,
Just don't do it anymore. I don't know why he was there. He knew what was going to happen. It was a
yeah,
joke.
but I was looking at the same thing that you were looking at inside the Oval Office, all the gold and all
Mm-hmm.
the ridiculous stuff, and it was so gaudy. The joke I had was it looked like his interior direct, and you'll appreciate this because you're a nerd, but it looked like his interior decorator was Huggy Bear from the Starsky and Hutch TV show in the fucking 70s,
Let me make this clear. Huggy Bear had better taste. Huggy
probably.
Bear would not go with that gold. I'm sorry. Brother was had a little more taste than that. I'll be blunt.
Yeah,
Okay.
no doubt. Yeah,
No,
you're
I
probably
mean,
right. But it was so,
because
it's so gaudy. It's just
it's just
ridiculous.
ridiculous, and it's like, and I just wish the world leaders would say, "I'm not coming. We're not coming." I wish they'd just do it. They make fun of him already. There's open mics about how they laugh at Trump. Trump
Yeah.
thinks they love. No, they hate. They don't hate you. They just don't respect you. You're a joke. And I would just not show up. I really want someone to say, "No, we're not coming. No, we're not doing this thing, man.
Yeah.
Can't, can't." I mean,
You know, Carney's sitting there and they start talking about Canadian automotives production. And Trump says, "I don't care if we get them. They do a bad job anyway. We can do it in this country. We don't need Canada." You have somebody come to the White House to do a negotiation, Is that your way of doing a negotiation? Because
Yes,
you fucked it up pretty bad.
and
He
that
thinks he
and
can overpower everybody, and that's not working. You'd think
no,
he'd notice that.
and it's getting worse. I mean, it's 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 starting to get to. They're trying to hold down the geyser. I mean, it's an old cartoon joke. You stick a cork in the geyser, but it ain't gonna work. Okay,
Right.
it's like trying to stop Kilauea from erupting, like it did the other day out of the blue, but the
Right.
pressure's underneath. And the problem is, all the economic pressures are underneath. We can see it. The job reports aren't out because it's shut
They're
down,
bad.
but we know it's bad because they can feel it across the lines. No projections are going on. ADP, we talked about that in the last video, what they talked about loss of jobs. No one is hiring. It's stagnating. It's just sitting there. It's building up and it's going to pop. And when it pops, it's going to be all over and there's nothing, no one can stop it. I mean, if you think it's bad on stagflation, if it pops, you could get hyperinflation. The dollar could drop. It could be a nightmare. That's why the Fed is trying to hold on to it, and he's picking on the Fed. It's you, your freaking um, Treasury Secretary, the soybean. The most telling thing of this bullshit, right? The soybeans. Let's talk about the soybean farmers, you dumbasses.
Right.
Okay, you guys do spreadsheets, okay, and you can see when your income comes in and when it doesn't come in. Before Trump was elected in 2016, China was buying your soybeans. Trump got elected. 4 years, China didn't buy any of your soybeans. Trump lost that 2020 election. Joe Biden came back in, relieved the pressure. You sold $12.5 billion of soybeans every year under his presidency. Trump comes back because, well, you're dumbasses and you believe in the culture war, and now you're not selling any soybeans. In fact,
Right.
he gave $20.5 billion to one of your competitors, Argentina, who turned around and sold that $16.5 billion of soybeans to China. So, this is your problem because you don't see the big picture, even though it's laid out in math. And that's the pressures building up. We're hearing about bankruptcies for farms, this, that, and the other. But we don't, but it's so quiet because the mass media is keeping their freaking hands on it. They keep pushing it down,
I
trying to
know
make
Donald.
excuses for it.
I I know Donald Trump is talking about bailing out the farmers, and that doesn't surprise me. I'll be surprised if he actually pulls it off and actually does something because Donald Trump says a lot of things. But what he's saying doesn't sound like it's going to be much help. Back in the first term, when he bailed out the farmers, he gave them like 40 or $50 billion to bail them out,
Mm-hmm.
and apparently that was enough to get them to vote for him again. This time, I would suggest it's worse this time for them than it was in the first term. He's talking about a $10 billion bailout. How is that going to do any good?
It won't.
No.
It won't because it's worse. Because in addition to the soybeans, at the time when he did it, at least you had U.S. aid,
Yeah.
which would you had production there. It's gone too. Those farmers are taking a shit on that. And again, I don't think they learned their lesson because I will guarantee you they would vote for Trump again in the next election. They would
Yeah. Yeah.
because that's who they are.
Yeah.
Gee, God.
Absolutely. There was a tweet or an X post that Eric Swalwell, Representative Eric Swalwell, Democrat in the House, he put out, and a lot of people were talking about this as if it was an absolute fact, and maybe it is, and maybe it's not. See what you think about this. Representative Eric Swalwell put this out like it's 6 in the morning on October 8th, which was yesterday, if you're listening to the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "It's coming to an end, guys. I've spoken to a lot of House Republicans this week, and they've confided that Trump's movement support is fading. As one told me, the Epstein bomb is about to drop. and no one wants to defend a pedo protector. It's just a matter of time. Now, that sounds like great news, but we've heard news like this before, so who's to say what's really going to happen? But what are your thoughts about that coming? I mean, Eric Swalwell's a legitimate guy.
I know that, but Republicans are like cockroaches. There are
Yeah.
a lot of them behind the doors. They'll come out in the dark and they'll tell you shit. But as soon as they pop the light on and Trump goes, "Hey, what are you saying?" Whoosh, they scatter.
Yeah.
Okay, they will say that to Swalwell. They will say that to other colleagues. Even AOC has said that. But when push comes to shove, they're fucking cowards and they run. They will do Trump's bidding to the end of all time, to the end of their careers, to the end of their lives, literally. Because
But
their fear is bigger than common sense at this point.
I've always thought there's got to be a point, a red line where it's just too much. And I've been surprised that we haven't seen it yet. I would have thought it would have happened before now. But there does still have to be a line. If there's something released about Jeffrey Epstein. Now, the whole idea of getting the files released, I think people are under the wrong concept that as soon as this woman uh, gets put into office, given the oath, that she'll put the 218th note or a signature on uh, the
On the
petition,
discharge. Mm-hmm.
and then it will pass in the House. That may be, but it's still got to go to the Senate. It's still got to go to Donald Trump. Donald Trump has to sign off on it, and he's not going to. So it's not about releasing the files. But that said, there are things coming out about the files from the Epstein estate and other situations, and there's bound to be a fucking leak. I mean, do you think people are just sitting here going, "This is too much. I can't go against them, but I can leak a video and this end this thing"? That's
I don't
possible.
know. I mean, the man tried to bring down the government in January 6th, and they've swept that under historical rug, even though that's not what you basically don't believe your lying eyes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it, it's the checks and balances. This is all why when Stephen Miller got caught on CNN saying the words plenary power, which
Plenary,
everyone went to run. But basically, what it is, I didn't even know the exact description of it, but I knew what it meant. What
yeah.
that man said, and then went glitching like a fucking android with servers burnt out. Nice act, dude. That's literally the old, come back to base. My radio isn't working bullshit. Okay, you did it on live TV, but that's what they believe, and he said it. And the problem is that they're acting like it now. The legislative branch usually is there to check the president. Even um, legislative branch of the same party the president have checked him, but they
Right.
don't do it because Mike Johnson have all given up that check. They are in with this. They are in. They're in. Period. As deep as it goes. Even if they have pictures of Trump literally committed the most heinous acts with children, they still will be in.
Yeah,
And
you're
that's a
probably
sad,
right about that.
and that's scary, but it's the truth. And they could tell Eric Sowell, well, yeah, he might. No, 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 no. Unless they stand in the front of the Capitol steps and basically denounce Trump, that's not going to be the truth.
Well,
They won't do it.
Stephen Miller said on CNN, he was talking about sending troops into Portland, and then the judge knocking it down twice, shutting down any chance of them sending troops into Portland. Stephen Miller then said, "Well, because of Article 10, Donald Trump has plenary authority." And I have to admit, I'd heard the word, I didn't know quite. I kind of assumed what it meant by the way he said it, but I had to look it up, and it means absolute authority over
Absolute authority
everything.
over everything.
Absolute authority. And then the weird part of it was like you say, he kind of glitched out. He stopped as if he was frozen in time, and he was looking around. I think he knew he fucked up,
Mm-hmm.
and this is going to be a problem
But
for because everybody starts talking about Donald Trump wants to be a dictator, and then they all say no, he doesn't, no, he doesn't, but he's got this
see that,
power, the power. Well, Stephen Miller validated those claims
and then
when he said what he said.
and what did Trump do recently? He just said, "Yeah, I'm pushing that executive order that I'm taking away the free speech from flag. If you could caught burning a flag, you're doing a year in jail. One, you're the executive branch, you don't legislate. B, that's a fucking edict coming
Yeah,
from him. So Stephen Miller said it, Trump does it. Because you can't do that. You cannot say, okay, arrest them. Why? Where's the law? There is no law. There is no law. But just because the king says it, that's what our forefathers were trying to prevent. They did not want this.
right.
That's why they had the three branches. And I said in a video, or during a live, our forefathers who don't look like me, who designed a system where there would be no king, there would be checks and balances. Was it a perfect document? No. Was it lacking cultural um, adherence to like slavery and all that? Yes, we know that. But the reason it's lasted 250 years is flexible. That we look back at our mistakes and fix them, not ignore them like they want us to do. And now we're at the point where the legislative and the judicial branch, the upper judicial branch, is basically saying, let him do whatever the fuck he wants.
Right.
That's why federal judges are frustrated with the Supreme Court because you're not following law and precedent. Also, that Supreme Court judge in South Carolina, gee, her house blew up. What a
Yeah.
coinkydink.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why Republicans run in fear because shit like that happens. And that's scary to them because they know the base and their base is crazy. These people are out of their fucking minds because they don't care about the country, they only care about the man. That's all that matters to them. There is no US, there's only Trump. That's
I've
it.
often said I've often said that Trump is a fuck up and the Republicans are fuck ups. And the reason I say that is because they constantly fuck up. Stephen Miller fucked up by saying that word, plenary authority. He fucked up there. He knew he fucked up. You could see it on his face. But then you take Donald Trump, I can pick from any number of fuck ups, but he causes the country or the government to be shut down, right? Things
Mm-hmm.
are going bad. It's a problem for a lot of people. Then, out of the blue, for no reason at all, he says, yeah, I may not even pay those people back pay, which just inflames the thing all that much more. You
Yeah, I
got
know.
people that are air traffic controllers going, oh, I don't like this. I'm not getting paid, but I'm doing what I'm doing. But when Donald Trump comes and says, we're not going to pay anybody their back pay, these guys are sitting there going, I'm sitting here working my ass off. I'm not getting paid because of the shutdown, but now I may never get paid for all this shit I'm doing. Fuck it. I
I
might
mean,
as well call in sick.
they honestly, if the air traffic controllers and TSA decide just get together and say, "Hey, we're leaving, we're done, we're not coming to work today," just a whole general strike, shut it all down. Do you know how much that would cost this country? The
Yeah.
chaos in the air, because it's not just passengers, cargo. How much cargo would stop
Right.
immediately? Everything, and because that's the thing, the consequences they never see the consequences because the consequences never have been put on them. And if they walk out, what are you going to do? Fire them. Go ahead. Try to hire people off the street to be an air traffic controller. Go ahead. Do it.
Yeah.
Give them a loyalty test. Go find your Trump of fucks that want to work there. Yeah, great. Half of them can rub two nickels together and tell you it's a dime. Please.
And the thing we have to remember is back in the first term, Donald Trump also had a shutdown then, the longest shutdown in
Yes.
history, 35 days. And the only thing that got that shutdown resolved, air traffic controllers and TSA going, fuck you, we're leaving. and
Yeah.
they knew that was going to be a bridge too far. It was going to cause some immense problems. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people pissed off. Some people will say, "Well, I can't go on my vacation. I can't do this." You think Jeff Bezos is going to be pissed off with Amazon? Do you
No.
think? You think all these other people that need air service, whether it be for
Oh
personal
yeah. Okay.
business travel or
Yeah.
cargo travel. Yeah, they're
Right.
going to be fucking mad. And it's going to cost not only them a lot of money, it's going to cost the country a lot of money because there's going to be no taxes collected on that shit
Yeah.
either.
It's and but he's confident because the people around him. Remember, in the first term, they did have normal Republicans around him,
Yeah,
normal people that have been in the government before, um, Bush people, who had worked right, and they knew how government worked, and they knew what he was doing is wrong, and they would stand up and say, "Can't." And he said, "Why?" "Because you can't." And they would explain it to him, and he'd get pissy, but he couldn't do it. Now he got all those people weren't coming back. They turned on him. So who is he surrounded by? Sycophants.
yeah.
Every one of those people are a sycophant, unqualified for each of their positions, but anything Trump says, it goes. Yes, sir. No, sir. One more day, sir. Anything you want, sir. Lift that bars, tote that bale. I'll do anything for you, sir. And this is what's going on. It's worse now because they don't tell him the truth. They're afraid to tell him the truth. And when the truth comes up, they make excuses for the truth. They're still blaming Biden for this economy. I heard them. I heard the fucking Treasury Secretary asked about the soybean market, saying it's Biden's fault because they weren't buying under Biden. The math is there, but you just say the word because that's the biggest thing. In Trump's speech in front of the military leaders, and not only did he go after Biden, he went after Obama. Why? It's all performative, but there's no one there to say no to him. And when we say no to him away from here, in Chicago, in Portland, in California, in New York, and we say, no, that's not right. You can't do this. What does he call it? An insurrection. It's not an insurrection. It's that you're not doing what I want. So I'm going to make you do what I want if I have to burn this whole country fucking down to the ground. Like you said, he's a fucking toddler.
Yeah,
He's
he is a
literally
toddler.
a loose toddler. And no one's taken his over their knee and spanked the fuck out of him. That's simple as that.
You know, it's starting to affect the Republicans in Congress, not enough to get anything done, but you can see that they're panicked. Hakeem Jeffrey was walking through the halls because they weren't in on the House floor because they're on fucking vacation
Again,
again for
on my
God knows how
dime,
long,
on your
right?
dime.
And not getting the country reopened because they said, well, we already voted on it. Yeah, but it went to the Senate, and if it passes the Senate, you got to come back and sign. So it's not like your job's done here, motherfucker. You got to get it straight. You can't be afraid of what's going on with Jeffrey Epstein. You got to get this job done. But Hakeem Jeffries walking in the halls, and Mike Lawler kind of jumps him, gets his ass kicked. Mike Johnson is standing around. He gets jumped by a few Democratic reps, tear him apart. They confronted him in front of the cameras. Why are you delaying swearing in this new rep? And he says, well, I'm not. We can do it anytime when we get back in session. And they said, well, you've done many that when we weren't in session. So
Right.
and he was getting embarrassed. But you can see these Republicans are trying to do anything to trigger something because they can't think for themselves. Donald Trump is making them do something they even know is stupid. So now they got to see if they can get the Democrats to bend. And thankfully, the Democrats are not bending.
I mean, I get it. I mean, it's frustrating because it's they won't. They, what was that Trump said the other day? Yeah, I'll open it. Well, then we'll talk about open it and we'll talk about it. No, dude, we know how you play this game. That's dumb. Please, bitch, please. And here's the thing: you made Chuck Schumer grow a spine.
Yeah.
He really did with that whole sombrero and mustache thing. That made Chuck Schumer grow a spine. that literally brought the street out of Hakeem Jeffries. It did. I
You're
mean,
right.
because it was like it wasn't politics. They're used to negotiations back and forth. That's what politics is. We've been telling them these guys don't play like that. Then you found out they don't. And at that point, you got pissed. So, I mean, and these guys are so easy to tweak. AOC tweaks them. My God, the 410. I never met Stephen Miller, but he's probably 410. My God, she did that, and he went fucking bananas. I mean, I watched. He went crazy over it. You
Well, that's something
asshole.
we've said a long time. You know, nothing is normal in politics these days, and a lot of Democrats want to fight. Let's talk about policy. Let's negotiate. Let's argue about this. But that's not working. It hasn't worked in 10 years. And I've said, and I'm sure you've said too, that the only way to get to these people, and it might be distasteful to a lot of people, is make fun of them,
That's
laugh
what.
at them, make fun of
That's
them. That's what.
exactly what AOC did in that video. We need to call them out for the ridiculous they are. That's what Gavin Newsom is, which leads me to the story I was going to tell you. Is that I'm going through my FYP and this lady pops up going after Gavin Newsom,
Yeah.
saying that I don't care what he's doing for Trump. He's not right. He's not the right person. We need to find someone better. Total far left bullshit. And she goes, and if you don't like it and you go in my comments, going to block you. So I went in there and go, lady, you are a Jill Stein voter. You are a latte liberal. You don't know what's going on. What he's doing is what we need to do. You are blue MAGA. Go ahead, block me. Bitch did a video on me later on with my comment. Okay. And she was just saying, she's going, I'm not a Jill Stein voter. You should have seen my videos. I didn't even watch the rest of it. My comment was, just block me, you latte liberal. I don't have time for you. Because the left has come back, guys. The Jill Stein people have come back. You know what they call it? The Purple Revolution. Where the fuck did that come from? It didn't come from MAGA. It came from the far left, the blue MAGA, because
I
they're
mean,
seeing their
it,
fucking points disappear little
if
by
we if we
little.
if we're going to talk about that, we got to explain that because not everybody is on
Oh yeah, I'm
TikTok here,
sorry.
and we just
And
want.
purple doesn't mean you understand the color purple also means you can strangle to death at that color. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I was scrolling on TikTok and I came across these videos about the Purple Revolution. Now, right away, I was excited. Being a guy from Minnesota, I thought it had something to do with Prince and the Revolution. I
Yeah.
was disappointed to find out that wasn't what it is. And apparently, there are some MAGA fucks out there because I've seen some videos from them saying, we didn't vote for this. We don't like this. We need to come together so we can take this regime down. And there are a lot of people saying, yeah, let's accept them in. Let's take these people down. And somebody asked me, would you be part of the Purple Revolution? I said, first of all, I've told you many times before, I don't join clubs. I don't join religions. I don't join parties. I don't join anything where somebody dumber than me can tell me what I need to think. So I don't join any fucking clubs. I said, however, why do you think we need them? First of all, we're in this position because they put us here. Second of all, we can't trust them. Third of all, we know they're dumb fucks. So why are they good options for a fucking partnership? I'm sorry if I'm not compassionate and I'm not forgiving, but if they called us libtards or they did some simple things, okay, maybe we can get over that. These fuckers are part and parcel the reason why people are trying to destroy this country and make
Hmm.
things terrible for my kids and my grandkids. Sorry, there's no going back. There is no redemption.
I mean, they're the reason that we have American concentration camps.
Right.
No rights for certain people. And I know this came from the left because I'm far left because I can see these guys kind of warming to it. Okay, because their narrative is starting to die on the vine. Okay, because they keep thinking that they're no, you're not progressives. Mondani's a progressive, but he's a practical man. Okay, You guys are pie in the sky bullshit. You hate everything. You think both sides are fascist. You're no different than MAGA. Okay. And let me tell you why we can't accept MAGA. Because MAGA didn't develop just out of the blue. Let's go back, ladies and gentlemen, 40 years to Reaganomics. Okay. That's the start. Because Reaganomics was based on race too. You
Right.
know that. I know that. We heard about the welfare mothers and all that bullshit. They used race to justify why government spending was bad. They talked about the inner cities. Do you remember all that bullshit? I
War
remember
on
that bullshit.
drugs.
War of drugs. I remember this bullshit. That was Reaganomics. That didn't really work well. Got Democrats back, kind of built real things up. We got Obama. What happened there in Obama? Obama had the unbelievably bad idea that everyone should have health care. God forbid. Okay. And he's even come up with a compromise so it can be like a marketplace thing, not universal health care. But the ACA bred the Tea Party. And the Tea Party's only purpose not only started with the ACA, but it was totally fucking racist.
Yeah.
You can hear it in their tones, you can hear the way they talk. It was the beginning of MAGA. And each person from that Reaganomics time became Tea Party. Tea Party went away when the economy fell apart under Bush's. Then we come back here, the economy's rebuilt under a Democratic, and then here comes Trump, and here comes MAGA, and MAGA is again came from the Tea Party, and all those people that are now crying came through all that and adopted each one of those policies because it fed their hate. So here we
Right.
are now, and now the second time around, because Biden came and tried to clean it up, but you guys came back for second bite of that shitty apple. But you find it out now, your God really doesn't give a flying fuck about you, and you're about to lose your health care, your SNAP, your job, everything, your farms, and now you want to come back and tell us we're sorry? No, 40 fucking years of this bullshit that the Republicans used to their power, that built the Heritage Foundation. Well, by the way, which was given money by Adolf Coors Jr., Sr. If you buy a Coors beer, you support fascism. Just a point. Um, 40 years of this built that the Republicans took advantage of, the Heritage Foundation, Mitch McConnell, all of them built a power base on it. And you guys went along for the ride. You kept putting that old fuck Mitch McConnell into the Senate seat, although he made himself rich on your poor bones in Kentucky. And now you come to us and go, we're sorry because it's now pissing on you. Uh-uh. No, fuck you. And I'm sorry. I don't want to hear about compassion. You don't care. They don't have compassion. There are women and children being dragged out of their homes, thrown on the ground, men and women with being arrested, people being told you should carry your birth certificate. Why? It's fucking America. And you're telling
Let me
you want to come to the middle? There is no fucking middle, people. I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
let me give you a little lesson on critical thinking. I think we can agree that the Republicans to the Democrats are bullies, right? They are
Yes.
bullies. That's how they behave. They are bullies, and the Democrats have always been the bullied and the put upon. Now, when the put upon or the bullied fight back, it's a natural reaction when they're weak or getting beat up. They say, "Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Can we be friends?" But that is a mistake. There is a point where you have to have a killer instinct because if you take them in, they're going to jump on some other crazy train and attack you again. I've always said when you're dealing with a bully, you
Mm-hmm.
got to run them over and put them down permanently. literally or figuratively. Put them down permanently so they don't come back when your back is turned. And that's what people should be concerned about, this purple revolution bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm not stupid enough to fall in line with that.
No.
But these are the same people that say, well, maybe Liz Cheney's a nice lady because she doesn't like Donald Trump. No, never was a nice lady. These
No.
people are bullies. We got to knock them down, put them down. And if some people were genuinely sorry, I'm sorry, but this is a fucking war. I think we can admit
Right.
there's war and there's going to be casualties. And I'd rather have them be those casualties on that side than on our side.
I mean, if you want a perfect example, okay, again, people knows I'm a movie guy, nerd guy, but the perfect example of that is you probably seen it as I seen the movie, Saving Private Ryan. What happened to that one German soldier that the secretary guy, the guy who was just part of the secretary pool, whatever, let go instead of doing what they told him to eliminate him so he doesn't come back. He came back and ended up killing his colleagues in the end because he showed mercy to a bully, showed mercy to someone that is not who was going to harm them. In the end, what did he do to that guy
Yeah.
when he kept begging? The point is, once they show you who you are, Maya Angelou, believe them. Period. And I don't want to hear this anymore. I'm tired of that. And I know where it's coming from because you blue MAGA shits are going to pay the price too when the reckoning comes. I have not forgotten about you. You won't vote. You voted Joe Stein. You're going after Gavin Newsom. Why? Because you want the perfect candidate. Fuck you. He's
Yeah.
not perfect, but at least he's going out there and tell Donald Trump, you have shit in your diaper, which no one does,
If
which we
anybody's
should have
worried
done a long
about
time ago.
if anybody's worried about who's going to be the candidate for president 3 years in the future, you're not paying attention to the real fucking problems in this country. Who's going to be the candidate in 2028? We don't know. Is it going to be Gavin Newsom? We don't know. But I want to tell you a personal story that illustrates what I'm talking about with bullies.
Mm-hmm.
My mother and father were married for any number of years, but the last 25, 30 years they weren't together because my dad was a horrible person, did horrible things to my mom, which she didn't deserve because she was a nice woman, but he treated her horribly. Things got a little rough for my dad, so he decided to come back and start anew with my mom. My brother and I told her, do not do that. Do not fucking do that. That's a mistake. And she said, well, no, it'd be good to have the family back. And we're going to do this and we're going to do that. He comes back and they get a loan so they can update the house. And he's got money so he can do it. So he takes out a loan on the house. Okay. And after the loan is taken out and they do the renovations and stuff like that, um, it turns out that he did the renovations on credit. He
Oh
pocketed the
shit!
he pocketed the loan money and then went out of the country with some other woman. And if that weren't bad enough, when she's older and infirmed and wants to sell the house so she can buy a condo someplace, my brother's going to the closing, and we get to the closing, and somebody says we can't do this because there's two liens to the tune of about $100,000 on the house. Actually, more like $200,000 on the house. And my mom goes, what the fuck? Well, my dad, because they weren't divorced, was out there doing his businesses, not paying his bills, and not
Ah,
finishing deals. So this is my father, her husband, who was a bully, who was a narcissist. They give him a shot to come back, and they will fuck you over every time. That's the lesson I learned from this. Do not give people a chance because if they get the opportunity, they will screw you. And if
yeah.
you can't trust these people, and we can't because they've done horrible things already. I mean, put it this way: if you knew a guy was arrested for being a child molester, when he does his time and he gets out, do you let him work in a fucking daycare center? No, you
No, you
don't.
elect him president.
Yeah, no shit.
I mean, that's. I mean, it's and that's the thing. And I don't want. I'm tired. This popped out of nowhere, and I know where it came from. It ain't come from MAGA. Nah, it came from the far left. These people are lost causes, and it, And again, this gets in the way of the narrative that we're trying to figure out. Because let's be blunt and let's do an evaluation where we're at. We're in a shutdown of government. The Department of Justice, whose job is to function as the law enforcement agency of the United States to make sure crime or crimes are not committed or people who are committed crimes are prosecuted, is in the
Right.
hands of Donald Trump and his sycophants. They can do anything they want. Things that are illegal, he does that should be referred to the Justice Department and the FBI don't matter. That's
Right.
gone. Okay, he's ignoring um, judicial rulings. Oregon, the Oregon ruling in Oregon, Portland. He said, you know, now he's got Texas people in Texas National Guard in Illinois. They're filing a lawsuit. Do you think he's going to follow that?
No.
I mean, the only
And what
pushback.
if he
So
doesn't?
what is? Yeah, what
What
if
if
he
he doesn't?
doesn't?
What are they going to do?
And so that brings up the other option, other thing too. I heard that the general in charge of the Oregon National Guard said if he's deployed, we're going to protect the protesters. I'm going to stand in front of the protesters against ICE
Right.
because that's what we're designed to do. We're supposed to protect citizens from harm. So it brings us to that. If if he calls in the military, even though the court says that it's illegal for him to do that, under the universal what is it uh, military justice system, you can refuse an illegal order because if you don't refuse the illegal order, you are going to be held accountable for what happens.
Right.
So if you're a military person and your job is to protect the Constitution and the order, there's no gray area. A court has ruled that you stepping foot in an American city is a violation of the Constitution and the Posse Comitatus. That if you follow his orders, you are violating the Constitution, which is your oath, which makes it an illegal order. What do you do?
Well, they've already done it.
I
They're
know.
already in the cities.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, and it was, and the courts, there it is. We're at a point, though, it's worse than it was in Los Angeles because they really didn't do anything but stand on federal property. I know
Right.
that. Even in D.C., they were picking up trash. I love that Trump trying to justify that. Yeah, well, we made the city clean. That's what we did it. Oh my God, dear God. But that's the thing. It's like it's getting to the point where no one's going to help us but ourselves.
Right.
And I'm not talking about going out there violently because it's not going to work. I mean, it'll work for a while, then it's going to just make people choose sides and it get ugly. But they keep talking about the No King's Day in the 18th. They keep talking about general strike. It may come to the point that everyone just stops everything and just says, you know what? I'm going to take a trip to DC and I'm just going to stand there and say, we had enough. I'm not going to do anything anymore. I mean, they've had marches in DC, civil rights marches. They've crowded that city and just stood there. They don't have to do anything but just stand there and say, we are tired of this. Until someone does anything, we're not leaving. So that puts the ball in his court. That's not an insurrection. That's people just
No.
standing there going, what are we going to do? We have a right to protest. We're not going back to work. We're not doing anything until you resolve this because what he's doing is violating the Constitution. So that
Well,
leaves
some
them only one choice to start massively committing atrocities, the military being ordered to do things that they're not supposed to do, or you step away. Because I'm getting to the
some
point because the peaceful protests drive them crazy. You've
yeah,
noticed that? It drives them
yeah, it does.
nuts.
Now, Donald Trump was asked about October 18th and the No King's Day. He knows about it. He should know about it. And he didn't seem too happy about it. And he said, no, something should be done to be stopped. Maybe I'll file a lawsuit. That's always Donald Trump's answer. You're going to file a lawsuit against peaceful protest. What would be the basis of that fucking lawsuit?
They hurt my feelings. I mean, all his if you look at some of the lawsuits that he's filed, and I think that's exactly their bullshit legalese comes out. You hurt my feelings. You made me
Yeah,
feel bad about my. That's what they did. 60 Minutes, the ABC settlements, the YouTube settlement. That's the only thing they sued him on because you made me feel bad. I mean, that's the whole. That's what we're dealing with, and the hardest thing right now is all those people that have the handles of power are cutting off our way to stop it. And
yeah,
again, they don't fear the court. Why? Because they've got the Supreme Court in their pocket. Now, I will give the Supreme Court credit. They saw that Cassell Maxwell, and they said they basically, um, you know, took it like a tongs and said, "Nah, we ain't touching that filthy thing," and washed
yeah.
off themselves. At least they did that. But the reports are that Trump is going to pardon Cassell Maxwell, and he thinks that's going to be a plus. I want him to do that. Please do it, because the
Yeah,
reaction would be visceral. Will be
yeah.
fucking visceral
Well,
on
the
both
thing about it
sides.
is prior to what the Supreme Court did, I would have said that it was unlikely that he would pardon Ghislaine Maxwell because I wasn't sure what he'd get out of it. She's been kind of thrown to the side as having no information. They gave her a little better place to land. But now, if I'm Ghislaine Maxwell and I get turned down by the Supreme Court for an appeal, if I'm Ghislaine Maxwell and her lawyers, she's going to say, "Well, I'm going to talk. I'm going to talk unless you give me a pardon. I said you weren't involved, but you really were. So now I'm going to say something." One of two things happen here: she gets pardoned or she gets gone. And that's something we got to think about too, because if that happens, we know where it came from.
Yeah, and it's going to be. I mean, they're considering that, and even Penn Bondi, in her craziness of supporting Trump, knows that is a got to be a bad fucking idea because
Yeah.
it will blow up. It will blow up. There is no way a Republican. How are you going to defend that as a Republican congressman?
Well, that's
I'm waiting.
that may be the red line that we've been waiting for, as
Um,
crazy as that seems. But that is going to be something that's going to
I
be hard. It's just the same as
right.
is if they end up voting in the House on this releasing the Epstein bill. The people who vote against it, they're in deep shit because
Yes.
it's going to be in every part of their campaign. People are going to be going after them. And then if you pardon Ghislaine Maxwell, same thing. People are not going to like that. They know she's a criminal. They know she was convicted. There is no valid reason to pardon her. So, like you, I hope he does pardon her
Yeah.
because
Do
that
it.
would blow shit up.
And he would do it just to go, yeah, I got the libtards. Yeah, I showed them. Showed us what? What'd you show us? And here we are back to where everything's coming round and round. It's all about performance and not governance.
Yeah.
All the people that are in charge have no idea what they're doing. Sean Duffy is saying, yeah, we're having problems. We're gonna, we don't know what we're gonna do with the traffic controllers. Dude, you don't even know what you're doing, period. Okay. By the 18th of October, WIC is going to be out of money. But
Really?
as I said, fuck them kids, right?
Yeah.
We don't care. And that's the thing. I don't know why people don't see. What is that asshole on CNN, Scott Jennings?
Yeah.
He had a guy tell him, he goes, he asked him straight up, hey, do you think zip tying kids is not a bad thing? He goes, yeah, well, they live with gangs. He goes, no, 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 no. He keeps deflecting. The, that is heinous, but he still deflected because they really think this is a winning strategy. They think it's a winning strategy
They
because
do.
they either got to think that people in November will forget all about that shit when they have no money and no health care and they're looking, for a way out of it, or or they think there won't be any election, which I'm not leaning towards. Still, I'm not. It
No,
would
I
be a
don't.
it would be a fuck. That one person made a good comment about this whole insurrection act. Okay, he can't do it. He can't declare martial law in the entire United States because we're kind of big.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't have enough troops and police to do that. It just you don't. You can't do it. Okay, we'll do certain areas. Yeah, but even if you do Chicago, that's not going to work.
no,
It's not going to
it's not.
work because let me put it this way, and we're starting to see it. CPD is getting a little pissed off right now. They keep trying to not get involved, but they're pepper spraying and gassing their officers. They're
Right.
putting their officers in a bad spot. The chief of police of CPD, Chicago Police Department, was had a press conference trying to kind of calm people down that the CPD isn't part of it. But you're going to be part of it. And that's the question I have to ask all law enforcement. The point is, in you can see in Portland, that blue line, that's federal property. Okay, once the blue line. People come up to the blue line to protest. All right. And ICE deliberately steps across that blue line to hurt people. Or they drop pepper balls. Did you see that video of the pastor getting hit with a pepper ball? Because he
Yeah,
stood there praying at him and they laughed and they kept dropping on him. Oh, okay. That tells you what they think. All right. The point I'm saying is getting to the point. The local police, like that um, suburb in Illinois that they have the facility there, that literally ICE is taking over streets.
right.
But the police department just the place that Christy Nome needed to go take a piss in, because I'm sorry guys, bathroom. I'm just going to be crude because that's who I am. You know what you get when you see this. Sorry. No, sorry, not sorry. But the point is that was a police department. They weren't letting her in. They don't want them in. And the point I'm saying is, when are the local police departments, the professional officers, the people who have been trained to serve and protect, finally stand in front of the protesters on that blue line? If Portland police is so worried about the violence, hey, why don't you get up in riot gear with your shields, stand in front of the blue line in front of the protesters, and tell ICE we're protecting them so they have their constitutional right to protest. We're not threatening you. We're just protecting them from you. What are you going to do now? That's the
Exactly.
question. What do you do then, ICE? What does the federal government do? Because they're going to say, we're the insurrection. No, we are in city property protecting our citizens from a threat to their constitutional rights. How do you look bad in that? And how do you spin that at the White House? Oh, it's an insurrection. How's it an insurrection? They're not enticing ICE to violence. They're just protecting them because there's been violence done to them. If they stand there with riot shields, just standing there without any provocation, and ICE comes at them, then there's going to be problems for ICE. Because I will guarantee you, all those fat fucks are not going to go against the true police department. They will not last long. And that's what I'm asking. When does law enforcement, whose job on the ground in these cities is to serve and protect from the people who are doing us harm, decide that ICE is doing us harm?
Yeah,
Finally decide to step up and take a stand. Because that's what I keep hearing. They keep hemming and hawing. Take a fucking stand
yeah.
and stand there in front of the people like the Oregon General. Could you imagine if he did that? If the troops just stood there in front of ICE and let them protest, let them, or walked with protesters to keep ICE off them, what would happen then? That's not an insurrection. That's
Well,
following the Constitution and your oath.
people have to understand the mentality of the people in this country. They've been going through this stuff for 10 years. And whether you're a police department or a politician, unless you're attacking these fucks, you're
Mhm.
going to be considered one of them. it's maybe a sad commentary. I mean, you get somebody like Barack Obama sitting next to Donald Trump and laughing. They're immediately going after Barack Obama, and they love Barack Obama. You better be ready to get in their face and fight with
Right.
them every time you see them, whether you be a police department or a politician, or people aren't going to like you. They're going to think you're part of the problem. And it's sad to say that, but that's the way it is these days.
So what happens because the FBI has been basically hijacked by
Yeah.
Cash Patel is a little worm. I've never seen anyone just so sad in that position. I mean, J. Edgar Hoover in drag was a bigger man than Cash Patel is right now.
Yeah,
To be
true.
honest, okay, let's just be upfront because J. Edgar Hoover wouldn't take shit, especially he wouldn't take shit from a president. Trust
Right.
me, if Donald Trump got up in J. Edgar Hoover's face, oh no, Trump would come out the loser. Because trust me, Hoover would have the Epstein files out in a minute.
Well,
He would have had
Jay,
him dragged. He would have him dragged out
because
right
to be
away.
perfectly honest with you, in that era, J. Edgar Hoover was the biggest blackmailer in history.
Exactly. Oh yeah, and he would. Oh no, but we get Cash Patel. But Trump, what did he did this morning? What did he do this morning? I want to arrest the mayor of Chicago and the governor of Illinois for
Yeah, that's just
insurrection.
stupid. That's just
It's
stupid.
stupid. But what if FBI agents show up um, in Chicago and try to take away the mayor? Literally arrest him and pull him out. What's going to happen then? I want to see. Are you going to let him do it? Is CPD going to let him do that for
Yeah,
no
you gotta
reason?
wonder.
Yeah. If they go into the governor's mansion and do the same thing, are Illinois state troopers going to let him do that? Because there's no charges. There will be no warrant. They will just grab him. There will be no charges.
The state patrol's job is specifically to
Yeah.
protect the governor. So what are you going to do?
I mean, because they'll just show up and do it. And that's my question. He Trump pushes the edge. He says that shit to get everyone riled up. Because the reality is, if you really do it, they know the reaction is not going to be what they want. No one's going to cooperate. I don't see them taking the mayor of New York without those guys getting hurt and jumped and the mayor being rescued. I find that hard to believe because he has been. We're not talking Eric Adams here. Okay.
Right.
Eric Adams was going through the system. And when the indictment came down and there was going to be an arrest, that's because they would showed up with paperwork. You have a warrant. They would have talked to the NYPD. Hey, look what we're doing, man. Sorry, you see it? Cool. Just let us do our job. That's what it would have happened. Okay. If Trump goes total, Gestapo on one of these guys, that's not going to happen. That's not that's going to happen. It's going to be horrid. It'll be brutal. Something bad will happen. And I'm not talking to the mayor. I'm talking about the people trying to do something. So
Yeah.
let's be blunt. What we see right now, and I keep holding on to this with freaking two hands, is desperation. Desperation to keep things down. Because we know the economy is going to pop in a bad way. We know those reports are getting worse and worse. We know tariffs are not working. We know he's betrayed so many people. And now it's starting to come to roost. Epstein, yeah, that's just another thing that he's flopping around on because it makes him look bad. But we already know who he is. It's
Right.
just rich folk around him aren't going to like it because it'll make them look bad because they need him to do their sneaky shit. And if that comes out, they can't do their sneaky shit
Well,
behind doors.
prior to the election, the people that cared most about the Epstein files were Republicans.
Mhm.
Democrats cared, but we had bigger issues to fry as far as the country goes. And when this is all said and done, we will end up seeing a lot of the files, probably not till after Donald Trump's dead or gone or shamed or whatever the fuck he's doing. Um, but in realistic terms, in day to day life, the Epstein files are the least important. I'm not
Right.
saying I'm not saying that it's not important. What I'm saying is people losing jobs, people losing their health care, people losing their lives, people paying ridiculous amounts for health care and for food, the possibility of wars in foreign countries and all this other stuff, and the deportations where people are literally being killed or at least put in
Or disappear.
concentration camp. Those are the important issues. The only thing that Epstein file does, it's apparently the only thing the Trumplafucks care about. So we want to
Right.
ramp that up as much as we can to get them equally
Which
as upset.
which brings us back to what we're talking about the purple revolution bullshit. The only thing that the mass deportations, the concentration camps, the abuses of American citizens for their rights don't bug you, but the Epstein files do. And then now you're coming to us saying, "Forgive me." Nah,
Yeah.
nah, bruh,
No.
nah. And again, everyone's going saying, "Well, we have to come together." No, what was going to happen when all this is over, and we may not be alive to see it. There's going to be an entire reckoning that you folks don't get. Every one of these regimes, history has shown, thousands of years of history have shown, these type of regimes end badly.
Yeah.
They always end badly. And when they end badly, retribution comes to those who were bad during it. Yeah, Pam Bondi was up there being a little snot, snotty little bitch. That's what she
Yeah.
was. She was being snotty. Cash
And she looks
Patel was,
silly. She looks
she looked
silly.
silly. She didn't look tough. She looked stupid. Um, Cash Patel looked pathetic. All of these guys on there, um, Stephen Miller with his, fake, you know, fake Uberfuhrer attitude. You look stupid. You sound stupid. Pete Hesgeth, you look like a drunk. The point is, when all is said and done, there will be a reckoning for each one of you. And if even if Donald Trump's not around, let's be honest. They said he's got immunity. Who's going to pay the price? You guys.
Yeah.
Trust me. There are when this is done, there will be no such thing as what we saw with January 6th. No, these things are going to be commissions with powers to deal out punishments. Period. That includes every one of you motherfucking ICE agents. When they find out who you are and they drag you in front of these tribunals, you will pay the price for your crimes because there will be witnesses. There will be people testifying against you. It's coming. And I watch and I hold on to it with dear life because these people are just so incompetent that it's to our benefit. And the last thing I want is something egregious to happen, but they just seem they can't help themselves. They
Yeah.
want something massive. They literally want um, something to go off where some ICE agent decides, I'm just going to wipe everyone out in front of me, and I ain't using non-lethal, and
Yeah.
just
I
do
mean,
it
they're
and try to hide it.
and whether they want to do it or not, they're being reckless about it, and it's
Right.
inevitable that something like that could happen. The the when you look at the way this is going, this is stereotypical narcissist in the final stages before they crash and burn. I've seen it a few times in individuals, and we're seeing it now. They're just going out and doing anything crazy, attacking cities. And I will tell you this: people think when they say Donald Trump got immunity from the
Supreme Court.
Supreme Court, they think he can literally do anything, and this is not true. First of all, there's not everything he does is covered by immunity, like bribery, which we know happened, or when
Right.
he's sending troops into Michigan, Illinois, California, Oregon. Those states individually could prosecute Donald Trump for those crimes, and state
Yes.
crimes don't come under the fucking immunity.
And I heard the Comey thing is not going well. I heard
No, it probably
reports
won't
that,
even go to trial.
yeah, I heard reports that the person that he put in there, his personal lawyer to handle that, doesn't have a law license in Virginia, so she can't prosecute Comey. They've been looking for other. They've been reaching out to other federal prosecutors to come and do this, and they're saying, "Nah, they're not coming to do this." Federal prosecutors are going, "Nah, we're not," because federal prosecutors, they only do this if there's a 98% they're going to win. They ain't going to win
Right.
this shit. They don't want anything to do with that. And
Well,
she's
the other
finding it
pro-
hard to do. And you said there was something you said. I wanted you to clarify. What did they do?
well, there one of the things they're going to ask to be dismissed over is malicious prosecution, meaning
Okay.
Donald Trump is just going after him because he's a political foe or something like that. Now, we know all the things that Donald Trump has done has pretty much illustrated that that's what it is with James Comey.
Yeah.
But 2 days prior to James Comey being indicted, Donald Trump put something out on Truth Social that was basically saying, "Hey, Pam, what's going on? These guys need to be prosecuted. You're not doing anything. You need to go after them. You need to do what you got to do with these guys." It was supposed to be a DM, but he put it on Truth Social right there in his own handwriting. That is perfect evidence that this is a malicious
Yes.
prosecution. He did it to himself again. He fucked up again. So when they asked to dismiss because of malicious prosecution, there's an excellent chance that will happen. It's a rarity for that to happen, I heard somebody say. But with these circumstances, how do you not? Because
Well,
he
there's
fucking
also,
confessed.
and then you have other evidence he's told we need to go after Letitia James. Federal prosecutors say there's nothing, there's no there there. We're not
Right.
touching that. There's nothing there. He wants to go after Fannie Willis. Can't do it. There's nothing there. He's already made these remarks to go after these people for no reason at all. And that's all you got to do. Like I said in the Comey thing, not only, Your Honor, do we have this, let me tell you what he's done here
Yeah.
and here. This is proof that this is a pattern. So it's a good bet this is going to go bye bye. I
Yeah.
mean, there's no reasonable judge will do that because it would look bad on them. And it James Comey knows this. He's for all. I mean, is he totally responsible for 2016? Probably not. I mean, he was one of the factors.
Yeah, he
16 was a
was.
disaster. Um, but the point is, I'll give him credit. The reason he's in trouble is that he just told Trump, "Hey, I'm not going to be fast forward here. I'll use now for then. I'm not going to be your Cash Patel. I'm not going to be your little bitch. I'm going to be the director of FBI." And to be honest, I just proved it
Yeah.
by doing something with Hillary Clinton. I didn't do that for you. I did that because who I am, and that drives him nuts. He doesn't forget that. I don't know what it is about James Comey that drives him nuts. He has nothing. He has. You notice that he hasn't gone after what was his former defense guy or chief of staff, the guy with the beard, the mustache, freaking Hawk from the Bush administration, the former
Oh,
general. Oh, it's
oh
going to
yeah.
come back.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mattis or something.
no, yeah, he hasn't gone after them yet.
No.
No, he hasn't gone after him, all those people in his former administration. Um, yeah, I really want Pete Hesketh. Yeah, Pete, go after Mattis. Yeah, go ahead. See how that's going to work with the rank and file. I want to
Yeah.
see how you try
Probably.
to do that. And the point is, these guys are basically a bunch of barking chihuahuas right now.
Yeah.
Occasionally they get a nip, they get a bite. And the scary thing is that they have the nuclear codes and they have command in the military. Although looking at those commanders, that didn't go well. What
No.
concerns me is the cheering he got from the naval personnel when he went for the 250th anniversary of the Navy. Why the fuck um, Melania was there making a speech to naval guys? Maybe she was trying to get lucky. I don't know.
Well, like
That
like
was
I- like I said in one of my TikToks that some people gave me shit about. Of course, Melania was there. She's always there when the fleet comes in. That's her normal spot.
I mean, I found no lies in that truth. I mean,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I mean, I saw that she's there going, why the fuck do you care? And the as we're because I know it's getting late, but the
yeah,
irony or the hypocrisy of it, he went after Richard Blumenthal about Blumenthal's um he kind of what he do? He expanded on his role when he was in Vietnam.
yeah.
I guess whatever it was. I didn't know what that was. It's not that much
I
of a
think
big deal. Go ahead.
I think he said he went to Vietnam and he never went to Vietnam. He was stationed someplace else.
Okay, maybe my father-in-law was stationed in Thailand during Vietnam. Okay, he was doing, but he was connected to the war because he was communications for Air Force. He did a
Right,
lot of that shit. Okay, so technically he was involved in it, but he wasn't in Vietnam. So I could
right.
see that. But he was in the army or whatever, the military. And to watch him just call him Da Nang, whatever. Hey, Donald, you didn't even do shit because
You
you
weren't in
got
Vietnam either,
you're in
Donnie.
Vietnam. You were a draft fucking dodger. You and that's the thing. You you go out of your way to show you something you're not. I don't know what your his thing with gold and trophies and medals, things that he doesn't deserve, he just wants. I like that. I'm going to get it. See, people play off what happened when they had the Club Cup here in America with Chelsea. He
Yeah.
took the medal. And the thing
The
about it is that the Chelsea players were not happy. Yeah, you shouldn't be happy. He took that medal. And some people going, what's the big deal? The big deal is you earn shit like that. You
he
earn shit
doesn't.
by working for it, by practicing to beat the other team, and you deserve that medal. And you slide the medal in your pocket because it looks pretty, and then you display it like you won something. See, that's what we're dealing. We're dealing with a man, and people have been conned to think that his bullshit, what he is, his all fake glory, is real.
Yeah.
Decades of this from New York, from when he was in there. They let him get away with so much shit that now that he has the powers of the presidency and the government, he's still getting away with shit. I'm sorry, he's stealing our money every motherfucking day,
He
and
is.
people and the media just shrugs their shoulders and lets him
Yeah.
get away with it. That's
That's why.
my money, and
That's why
I
the media is not going to be an issue after this is all said and done. Nobody's going to trust
yeah
the media. We're gonna wrap things
yeah
up, but I have one
sorry
more thing I want to bring up and see what you think
sure.
about this. Donald Trump said he would end the war in Russia and Ukraine 24 hours. He said he would end the Israeli Hamas war in short order. He announced today that he's gotten Israel and Hamas to agree to the first phase of a peace agreement. Now, I'd like to know what's in that phase. I'd also like to know if Israel and Hamas have validated this because we know Donald Trump said he had a TikTok deal with China and they said he didn't. We know that he said he had a tariff deal with China. They said he didn't. He had other tariff deals and they said, no, we don't have that. He was talking about some shit with Carney when he was meeting with him about something he had set up and Carney got pissed because it wasn't happening. So just because Donald Trump tells us there's a preliminary peace deal with Israel and Hamas, do we even believe that?
No, I mean, let's put it not even what he said because we know it's probably a lie because he's
Yeah.
reaching. He still thinks he's got a hail mary chance of getting the Nobel Peace Prize, whatever.
That's coming out tomorrow on the
Yeah,
10th.
I know. And so the Israelis, and we talked about it on our last time we were together, Mike, about the flotilla that they
Yeah.
stopped. They
Yeah.
stopped it. But also, when they
For what
stopped it,
reason? Why would you do
because,
that?
well, because they're the Israeli army and they become no better, and I'm going to say that here, than the army that subjugated their parents and grandparents and put them in concentration camps, you're the same now. But
Yeah.
the thing about it is, you not only you stopped it, but Thunberg, who is a Nobel Peace Prize winner,
Yeah.
who basically used her money because she has money, she is not poor, to help organize flotilla just to bring food to people, was literally abused and tortured in front of witnesses by the Israeli army.
Right.
Okay. And to the point that the Swedish government didn't want to do anything about it because I want to talk to them about that bullshit. But when she finally got out, she just still stood her ground.
Yeah.
The point is, no, there's no hearing, there's no peace because a country that would do that to people trying to do um, human rights isn't going to agree to any peace. They're in for it to get rid of the entire Palestinian people. By the way, far left, how did that genocide Joe or genocide Kamala work for you? You dumb motherfuckers.
Yeah.
How's that
Yeah.
working?
And
None.
Netanyahu doesn't want peace. He doesn't
No.
want peace. I keep telling people that peace for
And
him would be the worst thing that could happen to him.
and one person made a good comment, and I thought this was one of the best, just on the point that Greta has a bigger sack than every Republican in Congress because
Absolutely.
that woman knew what was coming. She is not ignorant. She knew when they were going to get stopped that she was going to be the target of them,
Yeah.
but she wasn't afraid. She stood up for what was right. You dumb motherfuckers on the Republican side, Republican Party, are afraid of being primaried, of
You
losing your
motherfuckers,
job.
you motherfuckers were hiding under chairs when your own people were breaking into the Capitol. There you go.
Exactly. So you look at it in that perspective. That's a woman who has privilege, who is using her privilege, unlike the other oligarchs we see, to help other people and make the world better.
Yeah.
So, and that takes courage. And what we're dealing with is not only the evil that's in the White House, the just the performative evil that we see every goddamn day, is the cowardness of the people who should know better, still ignoring what's going on and making excuses for it because they're afraid of the consequences if they step out of line. That's what they want all Americans to do. What they're finding out, we were born stepping out of line in this country. That's our thing. We always step out of line. We always say, "Nah, it ain't working for me." I mean, I don't care if it's working for him, it ain't working for me. What do you guys think? Yeah, the majority of us think that's fucked up, dude.
Yeah,
That's
we
who
ain't
we
having
are.
that. We ain't
Yeah,
having that shit. No question about it.
from day one, that's who we are.
Yeah.
So,
And
um,
that's how we'll remain being. I'm going to wrap up the Rational Boomer podcast. Thank you, Will, for coming by. I
appreciate
was
it.
I was wondering when you were going to come by because I knew you had some shit to say.
Yeah,
I've been
I
seeing
mean,
your TikToks and stuff.
my team is getting their ass kicked 8-1 in the eighth inning. Good thing I wasn't watching it. That's good. This was
Yeah,
better now. I feel much
yeah,
better. Um, yeah, I appreciate it, Mike. I just reached out to you because it's been. There are days, and everyone goes through it. I go through it. There are days you wake up and go, "Fuck,
yeah.
get me off this timeline." I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
good
exactly.
lord.
And on TikTok you have some limitations as to what you can say. Fortunately, you don't have that here, and
Yeah,
uh, that's good. We have this little oasis of where we can say what we want. Although I've been saying what I want on TikTok and they aren't touching me. I don't know what's going on, but
yeah. Well,
uh,
like I said,
anyway,
I'm the crew. The one thing I will say, the best thing about the whole Bad Bunny thing, I found Puerto Rican TikTok. Dear God, that's fun. I mean, I'll be
yeah,
honest. I mean, I don't know Spanish, but I'm in for the vibe. I'm really in for the vibe. And they asked the as we end this, they asked the commissioner of NFL, "Hey, are you going to battle pressure?" And he goes, "No, he's an international star. Why would we do that? Oh,
yeah,
it's going to be a." I mean, the thing about it is, to all. people of non-color, white, black. It's fun. As I said, real quick on a video, I hear the music and I didn't know him. We talked about it earlier, but as I started listening to his music, it just hit me. My father danced to that music. When I hear that music, I think of my dad when he was younger, when I was a kid, watching
Yeah.
him do the salsa, watching him to dance, watching him sing. That's a vibe and a spice that a
Yeah.
lot of people don't want to accept. All you MAGA out there going, blah, blah, and these Spanish. You don't have to learn Spanish. Just go with the vibe, go with the spice. Enjoy it for once in a while. Stop hating shit.
And if
God
you think you're going to
almighty.
stop, if they're saying, well, let's put a country act. No, they pick Bad Bunny. They're not going to get replaced. They're not going to replace him. Deal with it. And because in life, there's
And
some
he's
things you don't like.
and basically he said whatever. He's basically gone after him. He calls them magabuchos, which is
Yeah.
basically, I mean, he's stepping back, but that's, I guess, the last thing I'm gonna say. If you guys, this whole purple revolution, nah. If you want revolution, come over here.
Yeah.
We have good food.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. No
it
shit.
kind of works for you. And even if you can't dance, just beat to the tune. Just relax, enjoy for once. God Almighty.
One
Um,
last thing about the Purple Revolution, too. Are we to believe that those people that want to come together with the liberals, that you're all of a sudden not racist, sexist, misogynistic, or anti-Semite? You've changed your ways from all that stuff, or you just don't like the financial pains that you're under? Don't trust them. Don't fucking
no, you
trust them.
can't.
There's
You
no
can't trust.
reason to trust them.
And like I said before, purple. That also is a color of when people are going to strangle, and I don't
Yeah.
trust you because that's no, I can't. But that being said, if you guys like my idea of spice, you can find me on Substack at Binder38US and Substack. Also on YouTube, Binder38US. On TikTok, still on the download, RJ1727. I try to keep it down. I don't try to engage. Trump fucks say, "Oh wow, you eat a lot of cheeseburgers." Block because I ain't engaging with you assholes anymore. But
That's the way to
I'm in
do it.
for, yeah, I'm in for the I'm into they tell till we'll figure it out. But yeah, just again, once in a while, y'all just reach for the Tabasco.
Yeah.
It kind of
Yeah.
works.
It
So
kind of works sometimes. My son goes through like 2 bottles of hot sauce every week. I'm going, what the fuck? I mean, I like hot sauce now and again, but there are some things they're not good on Twinkies. They're not good on cheesecake. You just
wow,
you gotta balance it out a little bit. Anyway,
you got to tell him there is Mexican chocolate with chili on it. He
I've
can
had
find
it.
it. It
I've had
yeah,
it. I don't like it.
that's an acquired taste. The one thing you'll see if you see street vendors, try it once, and I have, and it's not bad. They'll give you mango on a stick, but they'll put
Yeah,
chili on it. It actually works with the fruit, just so you
I,
know.
I've tried the mango popsicle with chilies on them.
Hmm.
Don't work for me.
Yeah.
It doesn't
But
work for me. It was
but
just
trust
wrong.
me, hey guys, if you don't know what elote is, look it up, and you can make it at home with corn. Corn elote. Look it up. That's your homework for tonight. And once you and literally it's just another way of doing corn. And once you go there, you never go back. Look it up and you'll see what I mean. But
All right.
uh,
Well,
that's our
well,
food
thank
tips
you.
for tonight.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for coming on. We'll be talking to you again soon. You'll get steamed up and you'll need to
Yeah.
release, and you're more than welcome to do that here. So thank you for coming on. Those of you listening, thanks for taking the time to do that. I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.